All right, let's jump right in. There is a massive shift happening right now, deep inside the world's biggest companies. We're talking about the move to the autonomous enterprise, a feature where the software that runs a business, well, it starts to run itself.
You see, for decades, enterprise software has worked on a really simple principle. It's a system of record. We, the humans, do all the heavy lifting. We enter the data, compare the quotes, file the reports, and we feed all of that to the machine just so it can keep it safe. But now, we are stepping into the age of the system of intelligence, where that entire relationship just gets flipped on its head. The machine starts to actively analyze, to act, and to feed insights and decisions back into the business.
So, what does this new machine age actually look like? Well, it means those huge, complex software systems, the very backbone of global commerce, they're evolving. They are transforming from these passive databases that just store information into active partners that actually help make decisions. And the star of this new show? It's the autonomous agent. Now, this isn't just basic automation. We're not talking about a simple spreadsheet macro or even that old-school robotic process automation that just copies your clicks. No. We're talking about really sophisticated AI programs, often powered by the large language models you hear so much about, that can understand a goal, reason through the steps, and then execute a whole complicated workflow all by itself, right inside a company's core systems. Okay, let's make this real. We're going to start in a place we all know and, well, we know it intimately, the office, and the super tedious world of manual data entry.
Oh man, I'm sure we've all been there, right? This is how it's been done forever. You need new office supplies. So some poor soul has to manually email vendors, wait around for replies, download attachments, squint at a bunch of different PDFs, compare prices in a spreadsheet, and then painstakingly retype all of that info into the system. It's slow, it's clunky, and it is just begging for human error.
Now, contrast that whole mess with the new way. It's simple, it's direct, and it's almost completely hands-off. All you have to do is give the autonomous agent a goal, and it just handles the rest.
Just think about what this means for a second. The agent can literally have an email conversation with your vendors to get quotes. It can then read and understand the PDFs they send back, analyzing everything against the rules you've set, like, hey, prioritize the best price, or fastest delivery, or find me a sustainable supplier. Then it makes the best choice, automatically creates the official purchase order in the system, and neatly attaches all the documents for a perfect, clean audit trail. The human process is no longer the bottleneck. And this, of course, raises a massive question. Are we watching the end of these super important administrative roles? Or are we just seeing them evolve, where a person's job is no longer to do the task, but to manage a whole team of digital agents that get those tasks done for them?
Okay, so let's take this idea out of a carpeted office and onto the concrete factory floor. We're moving from a world of fixing things after they break to a world where we know they're going to fail way, way in advance. For as long as we've had factories, the maintenance model has pretty much been reactive. You wait for a red light to flash, you listen for a strange noise, or worse, you wait for the entire production line to grind to a sudden screeching halt. And that results in the one thing every single plant manager dreads, a complete engineering breakdown. That means expensive downtime, lost revenue, and a high-stress, frantic scramble to get things moving again. But now, here's how the story changes. The autonomous agent is always watching. It's analyzing real-time sensor data from the machines, it's cross-referencing that with years of maintenance logs, and it spots the tiny digital signature of a bearing that's about to fail. So before it can cause a shutdown, the agent checks the warehouse inventory to make sure the spare part is there, and then it automatically schedules a technician for the repair during the next planned downtime. The problem gets solved before anyone on the floor even knew it was a problem. So what happens to the human expert in this world? I mean, when that complex puzzle of maintenance planning is handled by an AI that never gets tired and sees everything at once, the maintenance manager's role has to change. Does it become more strategic, focused on optimizing the entire system instead of just running around putting out fires? All right, from the office and the factory, let's follow the data all the way up to the executive suite. Because when every single purchase order and every machine part is tracked in real time by agents, the very concept of how we measure a company's health starts to radically change. The reality for most big companies has always been this mad dash every 90 days to close the books and tell Wall Street how they did. It's just a snapshot in time, and it's often weeks old by the time it's released. But what if the books were never really closed?
If agents are handling everything in real time, you don't have a static report anymore. You have a living, breathing audit of the company's financial truth, and it's available at any given moment.
I mean, this could totally transform investing. Why would you wait for a quarterly report when you could have a real-time dashboard showing a company's performance, kind of like how we track stock prices today? It's a pretty radical idea, but it promises complete transparency. Of course, this powerful new world forces us to ask two absolutely critical questions. What does this all mean for people, for the human workforce, and who is actually in control here? Let's just tackle the elephant in the room head on. The immediate fear is, of course, widespread job loss. But the opportunity here, the real goal, is a huge cognitive shift. It's a chance to move our human workforce away from just performing repetitive tasks and toward optimizing the strategy behind them. So that administrative professional isn't just processing invoices anymore. They're now designing more efficient workflows for their agents to run, and they're handling all the complex exceptions the AI just can't figure out. But this leads to an even bigger question. If you give an AI agent the keys to the kingdom, with the authority to spend millions of dollars on its own, how do you make sure it doesn't drive the company right off a cliff? What are the guardrails?
Imagine this for a second. An agent hallucinates. That's the AI term for when it just confidently makes something up. And it places a single catastrophic order for new inventory. The financial damage from one little error could be enormous.
And that right there is the $10 million question, maybe even a $1 billion one. When that AI makes a huge mistake, who's to blame? The employee who set its goals? The company that built the AI? The business that used it? I mean, who's on the hook? These are incredibly complex legal and operational questions that we are just starting to figure out. And so I'll leave you with this final thought. When all the tedious, manual grunt work is finally handled by machines, what happens to us? Does freeing up our brain power lead to this new renaissance of human creativity and high-level strategy? Or, by pulling ourselves away from the nuts and bolts, do we risk losing the fundamental understanding of how our businesses and maybe even our world actually works? It's something to think about.